Alright guys, so let's take a look. Like I said, our quiz is tomorrow. I know we should have it Fridays, but you guys know we have it tomorrow this week. Our test next week, we have it on Wednesday. Alright, and the reason why is because we need to review for the final. So Thursday, Friday of next week, we're reviewing for the final, because the week after, we have finals. So, and then the week after, you guys are on your own. Alright, now looking at this, as a reminder, this is what, the first 4 questions. I'm going to be dealing with trapezoids. Find the measure of the angle indicated for each trapezoid. And I have all the trapezoids standing up on a base. So we know that once we have it standing up, 2 angles on the same side, either the left or the right, 2 angles on the same side, they add up to 180. So for me, that question mark, for right now, since I don't know how big is it, let me call it x, just to give it a name. So I know that 145 plus x is equal to 180. Once again, the 2 angles on the side, the left side or the right side, they both add up to 180. So how big is x?
35.
35.
How'd you because you subtract 145 by the way.
You subtract 145 from both sides, yes. You subtract 145 from 180. Yes. So I think question number 2 you guys could do pretty well. Let me take a look at number 3. I have my angles K and J. Because remember I said the left side or the right side. I'm looking at the left side. Angles K and J. One of them is 134. How big is angle J?
It's gonna be 46.
46. Angle J, I know I'm not asking you guys for angle J here, but I'm going to say angle J is 46. The reason why, because I know they both add up to 180. Alright, so it has to be 180. Since the trapezoid is isosceles, the 2 legs are the same, the angles on the left repeat on the angles on the right. So then that should give you your answer for the angle M. Right, the angles on the left, because the trapezoid is isosceles, the 2 legs are the same, because the trapezoid is isosceles, the angles on the left repeat on the angles on the right. Right, any questions for the first 4? Alright, now looking at question number 5, the length of the trapezoids, the diagonals, the length of the diagonals in the trapezoid, if it is isosceles, the length of the diagonals is the same. What I mean with that is the length CE is the same as the length DF. The length of one diagonal is the same size as the other diagonal as long as the trapezoids are isosceles, which is the case. I know CE is 8.8, so that's what I see here. How big is DF? 8.8. So on your quiz tomorrow, you will have some decimals. And in this part. So we have decimals, but I think these decimals are easy to work with. So that you guys will be doing those from questions 5 through 8. You notice all those 4 are isosceles trapezoids. Any questions for the first 8? Now let's take a look at question number 9. Find the measure of the angle indicated for each trapezoid. I encourage you guys always read the instructions. We have a trapezoid, so K and J have to add up to 180. How big is J? 80. I think that was easy. One thing that you guys can come and think is that these 4, questions 9 through 12, are pretty much the same as the first 4. The only difference is in the first 4, I was giving you guys isosceles trapezoids, and 9 through 12, they're not isosceles. The only difference on isosceles and not isosceles is that on isosceles trapezoids, the angles on the left repeat on the right. That's the only difference. Alright, any questions up until 12? Now looking at 13, on the back side, we have parallelograms. Okay, solve for each figure is a parallelogram. For parallelograms, for the angles, if they're adjacent, like in this case, C and D, they add up to 180. So I'm just going to say 129 plus 7x plus 2 is equal to 180. If they're adjacent, which means they're connected by a side, they add up to 180. If they're opposite, like if I wanted to know angle E, angle C and E are the same. If they're opposite, they're the same. But if they're adjacent, they add up to 180. So this thing we have 7x plus 131 is equal to 180. The 131, because I simplified 129 plus 2. That's where the 131 came from. When I positive 131, I move it to the right as a negative 131. So I have that 7x is equal to 49. Divide both sides by 7. And x is equal to 7. In this section, in this part, there will be no decimal. So if you guys have decimals, double check your work. So there will be decimals from the previous section where I had the diagonals of trapezoid. Like those decimals are easy to deal with. In this section, there's no decimals. Yes.
I do it where I would subtract the measurement with 180, and then I solve the equation. Is that okay?
That's fine. Because what you did is that you said that B has to equal to 41.
Yes.
Oh no, I mean 51.
Yeah, 51. Sorry.
51. So you said D has to equal to 51. So then you settle 7x plus 2 equals 51, and then you work it out. It's going to end up being the same.
Okay.
And then the reason that, if you guys are wondering why 51, because angle C and D have to add up to 180. So if you figure angle D, the whole thing is 51. All right, yeah, that works. Even, let me skip to number 17. Let me skip to 17 because there's diagonals now. I'm going to say angle W, the whole W is 4x minus 1 plus 2x plus 5. I know 2x plus 5 is way down here. It's just that it didn't fit right there at the corner. But that's where it goes, right? It just didn't fit. So I know that's the whole angle W, right? I added the two parts of W plus 110. It has to equal to 180. Right? Because the whole angle W, and I call it the whole angle because it's cut into two parts. So the whole angle W plus angle X is equal to 180 because you're adjacent. Simplify the left side. 4x plus 2x, I'm just going to call that 6x. Negative 1 plus 5 plus 110. Positive 114, yes. And then this is equal to 180. Right, we just simplified the left. Now the positive 114, let me bring it to the right as a negative 114. So 6x is equal to, what's that, 66. So how big is x? 11. The instructions were solve for x, so we're done. X equals 11. So once again, 13 through 16, just remember the angles are adjacent or opposite, so do that. But then 17 through 20, I did the same, it's just that I started adding diagonals to cut an angle in two parts. Not in the middle, into two parts. Yes. 14. All right. Looking at 14, those two angles are adjacent, right, because they're connected by a side. So I'm just going to come and say 67x minus 1 plus 114 is equal to 180. I added angle T and angle X. To simplify this a little, 67x plus 113 is equal to 180. Right, negative 1 plus 114, that's what gave us 113. So plus 113, let me bring it to the right as a minus 113. 180 minus 113, 67. X equals 1. Remember, we divide by 67, so x equals 1. All right, anything up until number 20? No? The quiz for tomorrow looks very, very alike. So make sure you guys know how to do this. 21, I'm looking at opposite sides. Vy and wx. Opposite sides. Not only they're parallel in a parallelogram, but they're also the same length. So I'm going to come and say 2x plus 1 is equal to 13. Plus 1, let me bring it as a minus 1. 2x equals 12, so x equals 6. All right, any questions up until 24? No? All right. Hope it's simple. Let's take a look at number 25. Here I'm going to start adding the diagonals, and make sure you look at what they're giving you. In a parallelogram, the diagonals, one diagonal is the same length as the other one. So what I mean with that is KM is the same length as LJ. So not only they're the same length in a parallelogram, but they cut each other in half. So looking at part of it, I'm looking at CM is 19. So from C to M, it's 19. From K to C, it's also 19. Not only that, but because I know the other diagonal is the same length, cut in half, I'm going to say from C to L is 19, and from C to J is also 19. Because remember, they're the same length, and they cut each other in half. So each of those four parts, it's 19. Now, KM is 9x plus 2. So I'm just going to say 9x plus 2. How big is the entire KM? 38. And then the rest is simple, right? The hard part of anything is the setting it up. Now, once you guys finish this, it should be a number between 3 and 5. But like I said, the working shouldn't be that difficult. It's just the setting it up. That's what I think is hard. Let me take a look. Well, better yet, any questions? Which one? 18. Okay, so an 18 says solve for x. The whole angle K, which is 42x plus 61, right, says the whole angle K plus 35 is equal to 180. Notice that I added angle K and angle F. Because they're adjacent, they're connected by side, they add up to 180. So to simplify the left, I'm going to say 42x plus 96 is equal to 180. Right, 61 plus 35. My plus 96, let me bring it to the right. That's a minus 96. 42x is equal to, what's that, 84? So 42x equals 84, what's x? X equals 2. Remember, if you get a decimal on this part, double check your words. If you get a decimal and you just round it to make it a whole number, you just rounded a wrong answer, which is still wrong. So don't do that. And it might sound funny, but I see it. Somebody gets a decimal, like, oh, no decimal, let me round it. You just rounded a wrong answer. No. Any other questions? Yes. 26. All right, let's take a look at 26. CK, so from C to K is 17. So I'm going to say this is 17. From Z to M, it's also 17. Because I know the whole diagonal was cutting out. MK, 18x minus 2, 18x minus 2. Keep in mind, I'm going from M through K. So MK, I'm going to say is 34. My minus 2, let me bring it to the right side as a plus 2. 18x equals 36. So x must be equal to 2. I was looking real quick at the review, and it seems like each number, because you notice from the two things that are there, I give you one number, I give you one measure. For our cases, I gave you guys from the center to the corner, so I mean from Z to K, but I could have come and say NL, I could have made a question, say NL is 34, and then MK is 18x minus 2, and so forth. I could have done that. Notice that NL, I'm looking at N all the way through L, is 34. Since I know C cuts it in half, I will split it as 17 and 17. Right, so I could give you NL 34, and you should know it splits in half, so split it as 17 and 17. I think on the review, on the work from yesterday, we had things like that. All right, any other questions? No questions? We're good?